I also was seeing, what we're seeing here is a little more beta on the left. I think that was consistent. Kind of repeating.
Was there anything on the gamma range?
Very little. And I may have the filter set so that it's suppressing because we're in a noisy hotel. And what I'm going to do is remove one of those filters when we do the next. We can do another set of things if you like here.
What's the gray, the delta?
Gray is delta, yes. Gray is delta. Let's,
Yeah, so therapeutically,
yes.
what might we be doing?
Okay, good question.
Intervention-wise.
Therapeutically, what might be done intervention-wise is the question.
It obviously takes more sessions than one to get this done.
Right.
One is to give them the ability to correlate better, mostly to get more co-modulation. In other words, where they're more in synchrony, their energy is more together, and the measured value is supposed to improve co-modulation. So that the alpha bursts occur pretty much at the same time, in the same shape. But they, not only that, but they move together. In this particular example, these are people who do not have an intimate history.
Right.
And those who would are connected much more deeply at that level. So you would find that over a series of sessions, you would, if they were not in particular, conflict, you get more of that. So we did 4 sessions with a married couple in our office using 4-channel setup at P3, P4, and found that just by letting them sit and read together, they began to connect more closely. Not because they were talking or because they were doing something, they each were doing something they liked to do, but they liked the idea of being next to each other doing it.
Right.
And so that began to reflect itself in the brainwave patterns.
So, in some ways, we're really doing also giving 2 people an excuse to be together, which is a good thing, and we always spend the whole week angry at each other because one's off scrapbooking and then tinkering in the garage, and they don't get together. And excuse those sexual stereotypes, because sexual sex did what? What gender do? But I'm wondering then, do you have something that's issues for you? Ways in which you might work with communication, or
You can actually do that. You can do it through basically sending them through a series of visualizations. You can find ways in which you can take areas of conflict and see them coming together, see the cells coming together in their own mind,
right,
without communicating verbally with each other. And what happens to the brainwave pattern when they begin to feel resolved within themselves.
Right, and I suppose you can also...
Remember, we're working at energy level with an intimate couple. We're working with the energy field as well as the physiological.
Right. I can imagine you can also help them temper down their ill feelings, maybe moving more up to the alpha state while they're both problem solving an issue or something like that.
You can actually do, yes.
Following up on this, the metric you had on the board, there's no scope for any intervention there. The correlations are too high. So I assume what you would do, if people are just silent together, do something like co-modulation. But what would you do for tasking if they're trying to deal with a problem, for example? I would assume that you would be using different measures of connectivity.
Yes.
Depending upon what it is that
Yeah, you would tend to move to other measures. This was a very lenient measure, but I didn't know what we were going to have today. I had no idea. And we're going to reveal these characters were cheating a little bit. We're going to let them tell you what was going on.
They were holding hands?
No, nothing,
Well, not on this plane.
not on this plane.
There was a point where I felt like I had a lot of energy
Yeah, I'd
in
like
my
to do another
hands,
run with you guys.
which I do anyway when I do some of the stuff I do. So my hands were full, and the light was there, and I just...
Benton light
Showed up.
showed up.
Because I've worked with my patients with the light and hypnosis too.
Yeah.
You know, just come out with the light.
Now let's look at what happened. Richard was starting out a little higher on the average. Remember, people were saying, we saw that on the right, Judith didn't have quite as the amount of alpha, more like 6, 7 microvolts compared to Richard's 10. And then this is where the intervention began, right here, minute 5.5. And Judith then rises almost 100%, easily 100%, from 7 up to more than 14. And this is the direction changed. So the alpha energy that these folks have is actually kind of going in the other direction now. And look what happened by the end.
They're eating dinner together. Yeah.
They're eating dinner together at the end. And the average is 10.75 compared to 10.33. Over the 20-minute period, the averages are within 1/2 of a microvolt of being the same.
See, the other half of that was when Judith, well, she was sending me light throughout the session periodically. I was visualizing a turquoise-colored band or
Yes.
line between the two tops of our heads. And,
Okay.
but the light that she sent me came. I was
Okay.
sitting there in the restaurant, and I mean, it was just poo, and it was like, you know, this is great. Do I need to go there? And I thought, hell yes, I'm going there. So I went.
Okay, people hear that? There was a mental dynamic going on here, which is
Energetic.
reflected in these relative alphas over that 20-minute stretch of time. You want to try some synchrony just for illustration and entertainment? This will be harder.
Are you training now? Are you going to train them?
I can, yeah. I do intend to. I intend to do some alpha synchrony.
Have you analyzed that data with any of these other modulation?
Absolutely, yeah. And we can run it through NeuroGuide as well. Yeah, we could, absolutely. Well, you want to try synchrony? Just for illustration? Sounds like you guys are up for it. That's going to be a more challenging situation. Let me figure out how we want to do this. We have, of course, a variety of ways to do it. We could overtly train synchrony. We could overtly train coherence. We just have to pick one. You want to do some difference? Let's try that. That tends to, if there's anything going on at all, it'll tease it out. So what we're going to go in and is go some channel mode. And we're then, for the purposes of rewards, we're going to put a go on channel 1 alpha, which means we're going to reward when the sum is large. And we're going to put a stop on channel 2 alpha, which means we're going to reward when the difference is small. So this is the kind of this wedge or lever synchrony training. It's very simple, and all we're going to watch is amplitudes. It's no more complicated than that. We'll do another 20 minutes. I believe this will. We're going to put some sound in.
Got the sound.
We're going to give you beeps.
Okay. I guess that just means each.
And what we're going to see,
Since I don't know how to reward, I've never heard the reward.
it'll be quite intuitive.
Will it be a descending tone?
No, it's just more stuff.
Okay, here we go.